What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about SoundHound. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is up 0.25%, so nothing really crazy. 809 the low, 851 the high. So you did have some good momentum, but unfortunately the broader market started to take a hit, and a lot of that was stemming from this. So recently we did have Bank of America roughly 1 week ago just outright saying that people need to short the S&P and that it was going to be heading to roughly around that 4,800 range. JPM now is piggybacking off of that, cutting their rating for the S&P from 6,500 to 5,200. Big cut for that, and a lot of this is stemming from tariffs. Even a rating agency from Europe did downgrade the American market in its entirety because of tariffs. So again, you have a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. Market hates that. So unfortunately, SoundHound did get hit. And at the same time, you're seeing relatively low volume today. So this is why it's somewhat, I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier to have these crazy swings. So only 11.7 million shares being traded, 25.6 is the average. These are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So somewhat evenly divided, so 3 buys and 3 sells. Dark pool is a little bit more popular, but in comparison to what it normally is, this is relatively low. So again, as I've kind of shared with you in the past, a momentum stock such as SoundHound, you need a lot of capital to get in. If not, you're pretty much at the mercy of larger entities and shorts and whatever else. So speaking of shorts, as of right now, they are returning 9,000 shares. So not doing all too much, but 31.28% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 112.22 million shares overall are being shorted. As you can kind of see, they were not, like, for whatever reason, they were the ones at one point increasing about 1.1 million shares. Then they returned quite a lot. So they are the culprits on what prompted the push higher. Why shorts did that, I'm not really sure. It could be associated to the recent rating. So there was one that did come out. It does show yesterday, but I was checking this early this morning and it wasn't posted. So in my opinion, what really prompted this push higher was this rating, even though it does show yesterday. So D.A. Davidson Gill, who has a 44% success rating, did give a buy $10 price target on the SoundHound. So given where SoundHound is at, that's relatively optimistic. So again, take that into consideration. But over the last 3 months, $14.90 is that consensus or average price target, and that does represent a 82.37% upside. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. The only thing that has really come out recently that's kind of worthwhile to bring up is this. So this was posted early this morning. So news, SoundHound AI named a market leader for AI ops by ISG Research. So yeah, good stuff. I personally do not see this as a good reason to buy SoundHound, nor is it a reason to sell. It's just a good FYI, and it does reconfirm that what a lot of us already know about SoundHound. The market needs to be better, and the market needs to be more in an expansionary stage for people to really look at hiring SoundHound. So I think it's just a very crappy scenario. And this is why at the same time you're seeing a lot of downgrades and across the board. So yeah, it is what it is. As I've stated in the past, if you do believe in SoundHound bigger picture, take advantage of these prices. I think one negative point of a lot of retail investors is that they try to catch the bottom too often, and usually by doing so you kind of miss out on the greater push higher. I remember even way back when this started to really pick up, even when it was at like $8, a lot of people said, hey, I'm not touching it, I'll rebuy it when it's at 7, when it's at 6, and then they just missed out on the whole rally. So again, I think dollar cost averaging is the best way to go for SoundHound. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Moving on from here, looking at options, 756,000 in calls, 471,000 in puts. So kind of low dollar value getting into options. Same goes for just the common stock as I mentioned. 54% of all the options being done today are optimistic in nature, and of the bulls, it looks like there is a consensus for it to be between that $9 to $10 range in the foreseeable future, and then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub, for the most part, $8.50 to $8. You have random pockets of 6, so obviously a escalation in it going down. Right now with that $8.15, it is flat, so it did unfortunately pull back from its recent gains, but it is trading between this R1 and the pivot, so $7.88 will be a strong support. Just watch for that going forward, and then $8.77 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, as I've shared with you in the past, I'll be a buyer around this S1, so that's where I'll start to kind of dollar cost average. I did make a brand new portfolio, so I'm starting to buy random stocks that I really feel like have a lot of good upside, so I'm just going to be dollar cost averaging with them. SoundHound, I do want to add to the mix, that portfolio, but I'll be a buyer around this S1, like I said. But aside from all that though, looking on the actual chart, there isn't really that much optimism to really bring up. You have that 200-day moving average, so SoundHound, in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, they're actually doing a little bit better. I know it doesn't seem like that, but they actually are on a percentage basis. So that 200-day moving average is going to be a big deal, at least in the short term. So 883 is for that. 823 is that ALMA. So I think right now it's just a crappy market circumstance, and a lot of just downgrades and all that is just weighing on the broader market. And like I already mentioned, momentum stocks, you need capital, and during times of fear, you're not really getting that inflow of capital. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you dabbling with options? What's your general viewpoint? And do you agree with, for instance, Bank of America, JPM, about all these cuts in for just the S&P? Do you think that the tariffs are really going to weigh that much on the broader market, enough that maybe it might cause a 20-30% pullback from even these stages? What's your kind of 2 cents on all that? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Even the day trades that I did put out for today, all on point, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.